Admiral Elena Lawson marched through the dim hallway of the naval facility long after her staff had left. The base was quiet, the kind of quiet that echoed with forgotten memories and the weight of responsibility. She had returned because her office lights had mysteriously turned on again, third night in a row. Determined to catch the culprit, she moved like a shadow, heels soft on the old floor. As she neared the maintenance wing, she heard faint rustling, almost like hurried movements. For a moment she expected a careless officer, but what she found made her pause. Through the cracked door she saw a janitor leaning over a desk, frozen mid-action, his young daughter half asleep on a chair behind him. He wasn't stealing, he was organizing scattered files with a precision that didn't match his uniform. Before Elena could speak, his hand snapped back nervously, and he instinctively shielded his daughter with his body. His eyes reflected both fear and exhaustion, as if he'd been caught doing something much more serious than cleaning. "Ma'am, I'm sorry," she was tired. "I didn't want to leave her alone." His voice was low, respectful but trembling, and Elena instantly noticed something unusual. Every document was arranged in perfect order, color-coded, aligned by time stamp. No janitor she'd ever met organized classified material this flawlessly. Even officers struggling through endless paperwork rarely managed this level of precision. She stepped inside slowly, her curiosity rising. "Why are you touching operational files?" Elena asked, her tone measured. She expected panic, excuses, maybe a hurried explanation. But instead, the janitor straightened and met her gaze steadily. "They were scattered on the floor, ma'am. I didn't read anything. I swear. My daughter needed someplace warm to sleep while I finished my shift." His daughter stirred and blinked at the Admiral with innocent eyes. Elena softened slightly. The sight of a child in the maintenance wing past midnight stirred something personal, something she had sworn she'd buried long ago. Elena knelt beside the girl, who clutched a small worn-out backpack. "What's your name?" she asked gently. "Lily," the child whispered, rubbing her eyes. "Daddy said we can't be late again or he'll lose his job." Elena glanced up sharply at the father. His jaw clenched with quiet shame. It was clear that whatever they were going through, it wasn't laziness or carelessness. There was hardship here, a story she hadn't heard yet. The janitor finally exhaled. "My name is Daniel Hayes," he said. "Single father. I work double shifts. Sometimes she has nowhere else to stay. I try to hide her so no one complains." Elena looked around the room again. Not a single item was out of place. Everything he touched looked better, more organized, more efficient. This wasn't just cleaning. This was precision, discipline, almost military-grade discipline. Something didn't add up. "You weren't just cleaning my office, were you?" Elena asked. Daniel hesitated, then shook his head. "No, ma'am. I've been reorganizing the filing system throughout this wing. It was a mess." She blinked in surprise. It was a mess, classified chaos created by rushed officers, late-night reports, and endless operations. But he had fixed it. Perfectly. Without training. Without instruction. Without complaint. Elena watched him as he picked up his daughter's small blanket and folded it neatly, almost ceremonially. "Where did you learn to organize like that?" she asked. Daniel paused, eyes sinking for a moment. "I used to serve," he said quietly. "But things changed. After my wife died, I couldn't keep up. I left the service so I could raise Lily." Elena felt something shift inside her chest, a mixture of respect and sympathy. "Which branch?" Elena pressed, though something in her gut already suspected the answer. "Navy," he replied softly. "Logistics and analysis officer. I was good at it. But being a father mattered more." He avoided her eyes, as if expecting judgment. Instead, she felt her breath hitch slightly. The files he had organized were from a division notorious for sloppy paperwork. If he had genuinely been an analyst, this level of precision made perfect sense. The little girl tugged his sleeve. "Daddy, are we in trouble?" Daniel knelt beside her. "No, sweetheart. We just need to talk to the Admiral." Before he could say more, Lily wrapped her arms around his neck, clinging to him with the kind of trust that only a child who had endured too much could give. Elena watched the moment silently, feeling the sting of her own past, her own daughter, gone too soon, her memories trapped behind medals and uniforms. Elena took a deep breath. Daniel, you shouldn't have to hide your daughter. And you shouldn't be working conditions like these. Daniel was startled. Ma'am, I'm grateful just to have the job. I don't want to cause trouble. His humility stung her. Someone with his skill set belonged far beyond the janitorial wing. What happened after you left the Navy? She asked. He explained quietly, financial strain, lack of childcare, the impossibility of balancing military hours with single parenthood. His career had slipped from officer to contractor to janitor, each step taken so Lily could stay with him. Elena listened with a heavy heart. She admired his sacrifice far more than he knew. The more they talked, the more the pieces aligned. His knowledge of operational structure, his instinctive understanding of document flow, even his posture, it was all unmistakably military. You served longer than you're saying, she finally said. Daniel froze. 15 years, he admitted. But I didn't want anyone here to know. I didn't want special treatment. Elena's jaw tightened. A man who hid his service so he wouldn't inconvenience others, rare. Remarkable. She stepped closer. Daniel, you reorganized an entire wing single-handedly in less than a week. Do you understand how significant that is? He shrugged humbly. Just doing my job, ma'am. And trying to keep my daughter safe. Lily leaned against him, already drifting back to sleep. Elena's heart clenched at the familiarity of the scene. Single parent, exhausted child, life stretched too thin. Why didn't you tell anyone you needed help? Elena asked gently. Daniel's voice cracked. Because every time I asked in the past, someone told me I should be grateful I still had work. So I stopped asking. His honesty hit her like a punch. Too many good men were slipping through cracks she hadn't even realized existed. Elena examined the documents he had arranged. Every tab aligned perfectly. Every folder labeled uniformly. Even the chronological mismatches, report errors her officers always overlooked, had been corrected. This wasn't janitorial work, this was expert-level operational reorganization. And he had done it alone. Daniel, she said slowly, I don't think you realize how valuable your skills are. He frowned in confusion. I'm just cleaning, ma'am. And trying to be a decent father. Elena shook her head softly. You're doing far more than that. Your work here has improved efficiency across multiple divisions without anyone noticing. Daniel blinked, stunned. I just wanted the paperwork to make sense, he said. Elena almost smiled. Exactly. That's what analysts do. Good ones. For the first time, Daniel looked, unsure of himself, as if the possibility that he might still have worth felt foreign after years of struggle. Elena crouched beside Lily again. She deserves a father who isn't running himself into the ground. Daniel swallowed hard. I know. I just didn't think I had any other options. Elena stood. You do now. Daniel looked up sharply, confusion etched across his features. The Admiral gestured to the meticulously arranged files. You've saved my officers weeks of labor. You've restored order where there was chaos. That doesn't go unnoticed. Daniel shifted uneasily. I didn't mean to overstep. You didn't, she interrupted firmly. You stepped up. You said you didn't want special treatment, Elena continued. Good. Because what I'm offering isn't charity, it's recognition. Daniel froze, not daring to breathe. I need someone with your skill set, she said. Not as a janitor. As an analyst. He stared at her as if she were joking. Ma'am, I haven't been an officer for years. Then consider this a second chance, Elena replied. Your service record speaks for itself. And your work here proves you haven't lost your touch. Daniel looked overwhelmed, struggling to process. Will it mean better hours? He asked softly, glancing at Lily. Elena nodded. Family hours. Guaranteed. Daniel's breath caught. He looked down at his daughter's sleeping face, his eyes wet. This could change everything for us, he whispered. It will, Elena said. And it's earned. Daniel held Lily closer. Thank you, Admiral. You have no idea what this means. For the first time that night, Elena felt something warm settle in her chest, the small healing of an old wound. As they walked toward her office together, the fluorescent lights hummed softly above them. Daniel carried his daughter, and for the first time in years, hope lined his steps instead of exhaustion. Elena watched him and realized she had witnessed something rare: humility, resilience, and dedication, all wrapped into a single father who had sacrificed everything quietly. When they reached her office, Elena paused at the doorway. Daniel, when I first walked in tonight, I thought I'd caught you doing something wrong. Daniel smiled faintly. And now, Elena looked him in the eyes. Now I know I caught you doing something extraordinary. The moment hung between them, unexpected, humbling, life-changing. And for the first time in a long while, both of them felt a future opening, not closing.